Hey everybody, Professor Paul here. Welcome back. If my voice sounds significantly different from the last section, I got an upgraded microphone. I want you to know that I'm not altering my voice in any way. It's just a really great microphone, so it sounds significantly different. Matter of fact, it's such a good microphone that I'm actually 2 inches taller and 50% better looking. So that's a plus. Now, in this section, we're going to look at the basics of how feelings work. So as I'm describing this, I want you to think about not only the reality of, hey, this is how thoughts and feelings and actions come into being, but also how you can use it as a technique to significantly change your feelings and therefore your actions. So here's the basic flow. The old debate in psychology was which came first. It was the chicken and the egg problem. Did your thoughts create your feelings, or did you have a certain feeling and then you started thinking thoughts related to that? So, do the thoughts come first and the feelings come second, or do the feelings come first and the thoughts come second? We've solved this debate. The reason there was such a strong debate is this. They come so close together. It's like a millisecond. Which is which? But when you check it out, scientifically, you research it, you drill down, it's the thoughts. Your feelings are always based on the thoughts that precede it. Remember that quote. Your feelings are based on the thought that precedes it. So, you have a thought, that creates a certain feeling, and then based on that feeling, you take a certain action. So that's the basic flow. They teach this in REBT, which is Rational Emotive Behavioral Therapy. Now, here's what I want you to get. And watch this over and over again if you have to. It's a simple enough concept, but it's huge in psychology. Thoughts and feelings will always match. If you have angry thoughts, you have angry feelings. If you have worried thoughts, you feel worried. If you're thinking happy thoughts, you feel what? Happy. You're catching on. Absolutely. Now, when you think angry thoughts, what percentage of the time do you get angry? It's 100%. They will always, always, always match. There's no such thing as a mismatch. So people will say, oh, I need anger management help. And, I say, well, what's going on for you? And they go, blah, 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 blah. Angry thought, angry thought, angry thought, angry thought. And they say, phew, I just can't get over these angry feelings. I'm like, here's what I want you to do. I want you to listen to your thoughts. And I want you to notice that anytime you have an angry thought, you have an angry feeling. And that anytime you're not angry, you're not thinking those angry thoughts. Now they look at me a little strange, but after a day of doing this, they realize that their thoughts and their feelings always match. And the solution to their anger is to let those angry thoughts go. Just stop them right in their tracks. How do you do that? You think about anything else. I don't care if you read a book, you read a road sign, you read soup can labels, you start singing with the radio, you start doing math in your head. Anything that isn't focusing on the angry thoughts will make them disappear. Now, your thoughts and your feelings are always going to match. Here's the other thing that's happening in the background. To feel angry, you have to be thinking an angry thought. When? Let me ask you the question again. When do you have to be thinking the angry thought? That's right. You have to be thinking it right now. As a matter of fact, for you to get angry, you have to have an angry thought to have an angry feeling. We've gone over that. This is not new. But here's what is new. To stay angry, you can't just have one angry thought. Oh no! You have to have a stream of angry thoughts. People say, oh, I can't control my anger. You're not controlling your thinking, which is focus management. You're not choosing what to think about. You're just letting your thoughts run away with you, and then they're creating these horrible feelings. And for some strange reason, you don't want these feelings, but you stay on these thoughts. Choose again. Control your own mind. Choose again. Choose not to think angry thoughts. Choose to have any other thought in the world. You might even want to choose a thought that matches with the way you want to feel. Why? Because thoughts and feelings always match. You are always creating your internal state and then blaming it on something external. It is the most common psychological misconception that the outside creates the feelings. No, it's the inside, it's your thinking. So, not only do angry thoughts create angry feelings, you have to keep going in a constant stream. Matter of fact, I would do this with depressed patients. They'd be telling me, oh my God, Mr. Paul, blah, 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 and they'd tell me all their things that are so depressing in their life. And then I'd kind of interrupt them a little bit, and I'd tell them a little joke, and they'd laugh. And I say, well, tell me what you were talking about again. And they go, oh, yeah, and I was blah, 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 blah. And they go through all their depressed thoughts and all their depressed feelings. And I interrupt them again. And I tell them a little joke or make a funny comment, and they laugh at it. You know, they're trying to be nice to me. And, of course, it was a little funny. And I say, hey, stop right there. Notice what happened. How'd you go from horribly depressed to laughing at my joke and back to horribly depressed? Because I've watched you do it twice already. When I interrupt their thoughts, when I make them think about something else, even my stupid joke, even if it wasn't that funny, it's enough to distract you from your depression and stop it in its tracks. And you've got to start thinking the depressed thoughts again. So anytime, and this is what I told the patient, anytime you're not thinking a constant stream of depressed thoughts, you feel okay. Have you ever been really depressed and then you got distracted, like, you know, you almost got hit by a car or something shocked you and you forgot about it, or the phone rang and you got in this conversation, you started focusing on somebody else and all of a sudden your depression was gone. But then when you hung up the phone or the incident had gone by and you went back to your old patterns of doing what? Thinking a constant stream of depressive thoughts, you got depressed again? I want you to notice something. Here's a great psychology trick. We're going to find out if the problem is caused by you or all these other outside things that you blame it on. Oh, you know, I'm so depressed because of the government and my taxes and my job and my wife and my kids and blah, 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 blah. I want you to get alone in a room by yourself. And I want you to notice who's in there and who's not. I want you to notice that anything from your past, anything that you're worried about, is not currently happening. And I want you to see if you're still depressed. Alone in a room by yourself, still depressed, you can figure out who is the person causing your depression. Do you get it? You're the only person there. And nothing is currently happening. You, in real time, alone in a room by yourself, are watching you cause your depression. You also cause your happiness. I'm going to blame that on you too. You cause your happiness. How? By thinking happy thoughts. You cause yourself to be worried. Why? By thinking a stream of thoughts, things that worry you, you will feel worried. They always match. I want you to feel empowered to realize that you have control over these things. So, here's the next piece. Feelings are amazingly simple. They are drop-dead, stupid, simple. We've been told they're wildly complex. Oh, they're from, you know, deep-seated unconscious forces and childhood issues and latent programming, and, you know, the government's warping your mind, and, you know, there's all these different layers of drama and subcontext, and everything's very unconscious. What a load of crap. I'm sure somebody sold a book based on that or got you to take 6 years worth of therapy based on that. Absolute rubbish. We just went over how simple it is. You think a negative thought, you have a negative feeling. You think a positive thought, you have a positive feeling. Boom. So feelings are not complex. The story, this whole drama, this story about, oh, I'm so depressed and it's based on this trauma, and then this happened, and then this other guy did this, and this other person did this, and that's when the bear attacked me and the fire broke out, and you create this whole story, this ridiculous story of layers and layers and layers of why you feel this way. That becomes wildly complicated. I'll have a guy come in and say he asked a pretty girl to the dance, and the girl said no. And he'll go, "Oh, Mr. Paul, I feel so terrible. I was thinking about it for days, and I was so nervous, and I walked up to her and I asked her to the dance, and she said no, and I felt crushed for days, and I feel so stupid. I never should have asked her, and blah 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 blah." And they go on for like an hour, and I'm like, "You realize I charge over $300 an hour, right?" Let me tell you your entire story. You didn't get the outcome you wanted. Your feelings were hurt, and your ego was bruised. I'm out. Under 5 seconds. That's how simple your feelings were. And they're even simpler than that. You're having negative feelings about what happened because of what you're currently telling yourself. Now I'm in and out in 3 seconds. Feelings are amazingly simple. Most of psychology is simple until the gurus get in and they complicate it. I'm going to remove the guru. So remove the story and the feelings are simple. That's all you need to know. You're doing fantastic. You've learned a major psychology concept. You're doing wonderful, and I'll see you in the next section.
Thank you.